Water tankers continue to make their way throughout Soshanguve as that area experiences a real shortage of this water. There's been no water in that region for almost 10 days now. It's understood that Rand Water is conducting maintenance at one of its reservoirs. The city of Tshwane has had to provide the community with alternative supply through water tanker trucks. Let's get you a sense of how it's looking now with our Katleho Sekhotho, who's at Montana Park there. And Katleho, we're told that it's Rand Water behind this particular outage. Has that been communicated to residents, at least as far as we know?
Good afternoon, Ayanda. Indeed, you know, that is one of the main issues that has been highlighted by residents, community members saying, listen, we haven't received word from Rand Water, firstly, before the maintenance was scheduled, and even now, in terms of the possible time when water might be restored. And so residents there experiencing about 10 days of no water, some of them saying, you know, since last week, Wednesday, just nothing coming out of the taps. And as you can imagine, the consequence of that is that, you know, people don't have water in their homes to cook, to clean. You know, some residents highlighting that children have had to be prevented from going to school because there's just no water. And that's at the heart of this issue, is the lack of communication between Rand Water and residents. And we understand that Rand Water is carrying out maintenance at the Hartebeesthoek reservoir, and it's unclear as to how long this maintenance will be taking place for and when water might be restored. There were some speculation that water might be restored either at the end of today or tomorrow, but that still remains unclear. But to get more on this, I do have with me from the city of Tshwane Utilities MMC, Mr. Themba Fosi, Ayanda, just to chat to us about this issue. Themba, thank you so much for giving us your time. A crisis in Soshanguve, people not having water. What's your communication with Rand Water at this point?
Okay, Katleho, the communication has been extremely bad. Under normal circumstances, when there's maintenance, even in our own reservoirs, we promptly inform our residents that these are the periods that water will be out because we're carrying out an emergency maintenance or just a normal planned maintenance. However, this has not been the case with Rand Water, where maintenance was scheduled at the Hartebeesthoek reservoir, and we were not informed, and we only learned when our pressure levels were extremely low and to a great extent our reservoirs depleted, which is not a good way of doing things. Good standard practice is obviously to plan. When you plan, you inform your residents. So at this point in time, the latest update that I can give you is that the maintenance is done. The cleaning was completed this morning, and pumping has been started, and the reservoir levels in the Soshanguve and the Mabopane are rising compared to early part of the morning up until now. I can give you the numbers now where they are actually now. Those in the low-lying areas should be in any time able to get water, and obviously those in the high-lying areas will take a little bit of time because of airlocks and obviously the network with having no water being depleted itself. Yeah. So it will take a little bit of time for those on the high-lying areas.
Yeah. And in terms of the provisions you've made, we've seen the water tanks, the trucks going around the community. Obviously, this is not sustainable for everyone in Soshanguve. Is this costing you a lot as the city?
It is costing us extremely a lot. I mean, it's over 150,000 rands a day. You can imagine the city is not doing well financially, as you know, and we've been candid about it that our revenue is not so doing well. You can imagine now if we have to dedicate another 150,000 per day to Soshanguve. And no amount of water tankers are enough to supply to our residents. Yeah. So it is just something to mitigate the damage that has been done by Rand Water. Remember, if you had planned this, people would have stocked up properly, and the frustration would not be as bad as it is now. I can imagine the councillors are going through a very difficult time because obviously residents are putting pressure on them for more information when the city itself doesn't have as much information that we can be cascading to our councillors. Yeah.
And a last one, Themba, in terms of your communication with Rand Water going forward, how do you resolve this lack of communication?
Look, Katleho, when we assumed office in April, we took a whole team of our technical guys and together with the executive mayor, we went to Rand Water so that we can start a clean slate and start a relationship, because this was the new administration then. So we had quite a number of requests that we had made to them. One was to have access to their telemetry, and obviously we would be able to also give them access to our telemetry, so that when there's an issue from their side, we can be able to then mitigate earlier, one, and be able to throttle water so that people might have low pressured water, but at least they would have water, so that whatever the damage that is happening, they can be mitigated in that instance. That has not been forthcoming. The relationship, I'm not so sure, and this is actually happening in Gauteng wide. I mean, in Johannesburg, Mkhale City, and etc., etc., etc. So it is high time that we have those that have the powers be assist with a mess in the Rand Water, because clearly we're not happy. If there is genuine concern, so that we can be able to obviously cascade this information to everybody, so that it could be clear that they are having difficulties of supplying water, and this over reliance on Rand Water again, it tends to be a problem, because once you over rely on Rand Water, when you have issues like this, you are all on your own. So same thing with Eskom. I mean, if you over rely on a certain monopoly, it becomes a problem. So it's high time we take these things to the national government to do something about it.
Thank you so much for your time, Themba. Thank you. Thank you. Ayanda, you heard it there from the MMC for Utilities and Operations in the city of Tshwane, Themba Fosi, explaining the issues here, a complete breakdown of communication between the city and Rand Water, also outlining that it's a common occurrence, a common problem within the province of Gauteng, and that, it really was a lack of preparation which has left communities in a dire situation.
Really concerning that. Hopefully we get to the bottom of how that happened, and more importantly, get water to those residents. Katleho Sekhotho live to us there from Soshanguve in Tshwane.